Awesome. 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 Just curious. How long have you guys been trading? Okay, so most of you are fairly new. All right, you guys are in at a great time. Year and a half is that's awesome. 2 months, awesome, awesome. So you guys, I just want to first of all just say kudos to you guys for actually taking that first step towards financial freedom and bettering, yourselves as a person and your bank accounts, right? Because that's part of why we do what we do. Um, but yeah, I mean, you guys are in at an amazing time right now. Uh, we have some very interesting market movements, and I mean, you guys have chosen well by joining Kev's group. He's definitely going to show you guys what you need to do and what you need to know to be successful and to thrive in this market. What about me? I first picked up um, investing back in like my freshman year of high school. I started out, took a class. I had a teacher. He was actually putting me on it first. That was about 10 years ago. And I picked it back up about 2 years ago. So I took a break, did it for like a year. I took a couple of years off, went to college, did that, and I just thought that there's more to life than what I was doing. So I picked this back up about 2 years ago. I ended up linking up with Kev, and life's been great ever since. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, definitely. Big facts, big facts. All right, so we got 47 of us here. How many times have you blown up an account? I've blown up about 3 accounts. I've lost about a total of, I say, probably about 4 to 5 grand before I was profitable. I mean, like I literally thought that I could throw money at something and I would make money. And for a while, because I started off doing penny stocks, for a while it worked, but it wasn't consistent. Like one day you'd be up 600, next day you're down three, two, three, $400. So yeah, it took a couple times for me to get it right. And I mean, the biggest thing about being consistent, guys, and successful is discipline. All right, so it's 11:30 on the dot. It's 50 of us strong. I know you all are probably wondering what we're going to be discussing tonight. We're actually going to be talking about the TTM squeeze. I'm gonna write this in the chat so that you can see. TTM squeeze. All right, so since most of you are fairly new, I'm going to I'm gonna break this down for you. Let's go with so what is a TTM squeeze? TTM squeeze is the indicator that I use to find consolidation in the market and to find consolidation in certain stocks, right? Like this is my bread and butter indicator. I don't really use too many indicators, but I am a firm believer in this one just because it's done me so well, and for others that I've seen use it as well, it's done them pretty nice too. So a TTM squeeze is here. I have it pulled up actually on most of my charts. It is the TTM squeeze are these histogram. You see these dots, these green dots, red dots, green dots, and then you have the dark blue histogram bars, and you have the light blue histogram bars. This is the TTM squeeze. Now, what this does for us is this shows me when a stock's price level is trading in a range. Now, why is that important? Anyone tell me why that would be important? Why would I want to know when a stock is trading in a range? Yes, yes. Oh, we got a smart crew. Yes, yes, yes. I expect nothing less. Yes, so these red dots here tell me when a stock is trading in a range. If we want to be specific, it's called the Kettler channels. So Dr. John Carter created a system where this indicator tells me when a stock is trading in that Kettler channel, in that range, right? And so what that does is that lets me know, hey, Rod, you need to be paying attention to this stock in particular, and it breaks down into different time frames. So you could find a stock that's trading on a daily time frame, 5 minute time frame. You see these red dots here on a any time frame, 1 hour, 4 hour. Some of you may be like, well, what's the best indicator? Where it really depends. I mean, you might say, what's the best time frame? Where it really depends, right? If you are a swing trader, you may want to be looking for the daily on the daily time frame or the weekly time frame, right? Um, because you're probably going to be holding the trade for a longer period of time. Now, if you're scalping, you're day trading, this one you want to go to the hourlies, and you want to go to you want to definitely pay attention to like the 30 minutes and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. So, smaller the time frame, smaller the move. Bigger the time frame, bigger the move. Remember that, guys. That's going to stick with you for a very long time. So let's just say, for instance, let's just take, I got Beyond Meat pulled up, right? Let's just look at the TTM squeeze. Let's look at what happened. So here we're squeezing, and I have the daily pulled up. So each bar represents price action that happened during that day. So here on, what is that, July the 5th, it was, we got Beyond Meat squeezing, entered it first squeeze dot on the 5th. And we see on the 8th, it was squeezing the 9th, and so on and so forth, right? Well, the theory behind the squeeze is once it releases, now what does that mean? Once this red dot turns green, and that's what we would call a release of a squeeze, typically it moves out of that range for 8 to 10 bars, 8 to 10 dots, right? So here on the 15th, we have a red dot, and on the 16th, the next day, it's telling us that it broke out of that squeeze. If you guys can see it, it's a green dot there. And the histogram bars above it are pointing to the upside. Now, typically, it's not 100. Nothing's 100 in trading, right? But typically, when you have these histogram bars pointing up, these light blue ones going up, that typically means that you're going to have the momentum of that stock price is going to increase. It's going to go up. Now, you'll see times where you'll have here, let's look at here, we have the red dots here, and then a release, and you see it's the histogram bars are red and they're going down, right? They're not going up. Typically, that means that the squeeze is going to release to the downside. So typically, remember, typically, when it releases and you have the histogram bars pointing up and they're the light blue ones, that means typically that the price is going to increase to the upside. Now let's see what happens. So 15th, 16th it release. It's kind of still trading in that range, still trading that range, still trading that range. Boom, it breaks this level of resistance that it's been trading in. You see that? See this range, see this level that's 175.39 level? It finally kind of broke above that level on the 4th bar, I believe. Look what happens on the 5th bar. And then we get more and more a continuation move, right? Imagine if you were a swing trader and you would have just bought a contract in this consolidation, in this squeeze, and you would have just held through and let it ride. You would have had to buy maybe a 2-week expiration date, but when you're swing trading, you typically want to do 2 to 3 weeks anyway, right? Um, so let's just say you would have gotten in on this consolidation and you would have went in for calls, and you would have caught this move, right? I was actually, this is when I began trading using the TTM squeeze, and I actually caught a lot of this. So this is like what kind of caught my attention, right? And I'm going to do more than just, because I want to like show you guys that this thing is like real. I'm not just going to do one ticker. All right, let's take shop. Me and Kev was actually watching this. We're still experimenting with the TTM squeeze. Check this out though. All right, you guys see how shop on this is November the 12th. Shop was squeezing on the daily or in the daily time frame. And you can kind of see how it's trading. It comes up and it starts to trade in this range. And then what happens? We get a squeeze release. And see, it didn't take place that first day of the squeeze release. About 3 days, look at that. Finally, it breaks out of that range, came back to retest, and it just exploded, right? So imagine getting in here at like 308 and riding this thing to like 370, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy moves, guys. Crazy, crazy moves. Great question. Is this mainly for swings, or do you also use this for day trading and scalps? I do use this for day trades and scalp. I typically don't swing trades as of right now. I used to love swing trades, but with just so much volatility in the markets, you really want to be on point. And me, I've just been kind of trading breakouts and intraday trades. I do a couple swings here and there. I see you guys have been killing it in Kev's group with the swing trades. Um, but yeah, you can definitely use these intraday. As a matter of fact, I played Zoom this past Friday, and I played it based off of because it was squeezing. All right, this is my bread and butter, guys. I literally pay my bills by using this strategy.
TTM squeezes are like the best fucking strategies ever. It's like it'll tell you. It's like before you even see it, it'll tell you it's squeezing. It's like what the hell? And I don't even know how many times. Like, can you hear me? By the way,
Yeah,
I don't even remember how many times you told me like, hey, bro, like we were looking at this squeeze and then look what he did. Like, dude,
it's
happened. It
it's
happened
crazy.
so many times.
It's
So
it's
many.
really scary. It's really scary because we would sit there and like watch, these things explode before our very eyes. And I think we just were so baffled that how accurate this thing was. Yes, yes, yes. So back to that intraday. Uh, can you use the TTM squeeze intraday? So check this out. I love to trade with Kev. He really got me looking at patterns a lot more, right? And the TTM squeeze goes hand in hand with patterns. Let's check this out, right? Let's look at this together. So here, this was on the 13th, 14th. We have Zoom. We got some nice price action, and it begins to kind of trade in this range. Now, can anyone tell me what this pattern is right here? And I don't have my trend lines up, but if you can see this, yes, 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 yes. That's what you want to see. You want to see, these stocks on these time frames moving in, or forming patterns along with squeezing, because we know typically that, when you get a bull flag or a triangle, something like that, you're going to have a breakout, right? So let's just incorporate this triangle pattern with the squeeze. Let's just say, so I traded here. It releases from the squeeze. We're squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. We finally get a release, right? We get a release after hours, right? So that's no fair. But let's just say So the next day I played it, right? Because I saw that it released from the squeeze. Now remember, guys, the squeeze lasts 8 to 10 bars. So even though it squeezed and released after hours, we weren't able to play this. That's only like 3 bars, right? So I know that there's still more momentum to go. So we got in, and you got to be patient with these things. You can't just go in and say, "Oh man, it's squeezing, it's releasing. I know it's going up," right? You still want to get a good uh, entry. So here we see that Zoom dumped and it found support and it shot back up, right? It is still releasing from that squeeze. Like just imagine catching this bounce or even catching this breakout up here, right? And riding that thing for, $10 or $5, $7, right? Look at the next day. It still is pulling back, but it's still moving to the upside. It's still releasing from that squeeze. And even till this day, we are still releasing from this squeeze. I noticed that if you play the 4 hour squeeze, it typically lasts like 2 to 3, sometimes 4 days, guys. I'll pull up one more prime example. So that's a great question. Let me just pull that up. When you are swinging with the squeeze, do you take a position as soon as it breaks the squeeze? I like to take my positions on a break of a key level. And typically, when it's breaking a key level, you'll see coincidentally, I don't really believe in coincidences, but coincidentally, you will see the squeeze releasing as well. Now, let's just say that I wasn't looking at Zoom at the time, I was looking at something else. And Zoom caught my eye, right? Like I turned to it and I saw that it was releasing from the squeeze already. I would wait for like a pullback or a consolidation, right? Before I took an entry. And that can work for you. I've seen it plenty of times work for me in my best interest. Like I'll wait for a pullback after it's released already and it'll do a continuation, right? So I got in at a good time. Now, I've also seen it release from a squeeze and it pull back and it kind of trade back into that range. Now, just because it releases doesn't mean that it can't go back into that range, guys. So you want to always trade with the market. This is a prime example of why you want to trade with the market. You don't want to just go in here and say, hey, this thing's squeezing. It looks like it's going to the upside. I'm going to hop in, right? Because if the market's dumping, it doesn't really matter what this thing is doing unless it has some type of like real catalyst behind it, right? You always want to go hand in hand with like your SPY, QQQs. You want to follow the market. You want to trade with the market. You want to trade with the trend. I hear Kev say that a lot, right? You want to trade with the trend of the market. Prime example here, Amazon 4 hour squeeze. Look what happened. Boom. Explosion, consolidation, explosion. That's what you guys will see. And it's not just it moving to the upside, guys. It also works the same moving to the downside. So if the stock was like selling off, or you saw it sell off and then it started consolidating and then it entered a triangle and then it was squeezing with that triangle, 9 times out of 10, that thing's probably about to shoot to the downside. So you got to be careful. Use it for what it is as an indicator. It's just kind of like it's a compass. Use the squeeze as a compass. Use it to direct your attention, um, you know, to that ticker at that very given time. So you a downside example? All right, let me see. I got notes on notes. When I make my watch list in the morning, I make notes of these things that may catch my eye, like a potential release. I believe that SPY was releasing from a squeeze. So I remember playing some SPY puts. Yeah, you can see right here. All right, yeah, so let's take this. I need to edit my levels. I know I got a lot of lines, right? All right, so SPY was squeezing here around the 4 hour. Still trading in this range. We know it was trading in this range for a while. Got a big rejection from this 3 key levels, 313, right? and look what happens. It releases, turn green, and look at the histogram bars, guys. It's pointing to the downside, right? They're red. They're pointing to the downside. That's selling momentum, right? Look what happens. Boom, boom, boom. Come back up to retest. Boom, boom, boom. Continuation. You see how powerful this is? Just imagine if you would have just swung puts here, which some of you probably did. Imagine if you would have just got in up here. You could even have played this intraday, right? Released from the squeeze. After hours, came back, kind of started squeezing again. Still moving down. Released. More downside. Came back up to retest, and you'll get that sometimes. You'll get that when, you know, stocks will come back and they'll try to shake you out. They'll go back to retest previous resistant levels, and then we get a continuation. And now we're here, actually. Let me show you again. There's another squeeze, and then you have a release. And a lot of these moves have been happening after hours or pre-market. I'm used to seeing it where we can like catch these moves intraday. And a lot of times, I mean, you can catch them intraday, but I've been noticing a lot lately that a lot of our action is happening pre-market. So, you know, if you're swinging and you're looking at the TTM squeeze, you're killing it, like absolutely killing it. Check this out. So now we're squeezing again. Let me just back up answer some of these questions before I get too deep. So what did you say about the downside triangle squeeze? Like the squeeze goes hand in hand with pattern. So if you have a triangle and it's previously been selling off, that triangle is just consolidation. We've just found a way to kind of like make it easier to identify. So we call it a triangle, but that's just nothing but consolidation. That's what you want to see when you're playing a breakout play, especially. You want to see a move in that direction, and then you want to see consolidation, and then you want to see a continuation of that move. And that's what the squeeze does for you a lot of times, whether it's you're playing it to the downside or the upside. Tesla is a prime example because Tesla really follows its patterns a lot. So like if you get a big move up and then you get, you know, like if it was squeezing and it releases and then it'll consolidate and then you'll get an extended move. And I'll show you guys one of those too. Let's see. Bar color after the release as an indicator of strength for the movement that is about to take place after hours pure market due to Fed. Yes, I agree. Yeah, so those, when it releases, you see how it's squeezing and the green dot tells me that it's released from that squeeze. When you get these histogram bars pointing to the downside, typically that means that it's going to continue moving down. You know, that's not to say that it can't come up, retest some resistance levels to try to shake you out. Remember, we're playing with market makers. Typically, though, you'll get a continuation like so. And right now, this is actually a true chart. We're still squeezing, guys. Look at this. We're still trading in this range. So if you want to take a bigger picture, I'm not going to be biased, but if you want to take a bigger picture and look at things, look, guys, we're in a squeeze, and so we're selling off and we're squeezing, right? So, you know, if we're going to go by TTM squeeze, what is this going to tell me? This is telling me that we're probably going to continue the pattern that we're in. Now, this is where you want to be careful, guys, because you don't want to be too, you know, caught up on your analysis, so to speak. Like you want to be flexible. You always want to be flexible, right? You want to definitely believe in your trading system. And I'm not to say like don't play off of your conviction. I'm just saying, hey, if you are wrong, if your conviction is wrong, know when to cut your losses. But just looking at these charts, guys, you know, I think we're going lower just based off of, you know, what's going on. I definitely think we're going lower. I think that this next move is probably going to be massive because we're in a 4-hour squeeze. And when you get these bigger time frames, you get bigger moves, right? Let's see. Do I have volume bars on? Harder to see the TTM squeeze. Yeah, so two of my main indicators that I'm using right now, I'm using the TTM squeeze and I'm using which is called the above average volume. So here at the very, very bottom, you guys will see these red and green bars, right? These histogram bars. If you look closely, you'll see a golden line. This golden line is the average 50-day volume. So for the past 50 days, this is typically where volume, this separates below volume and above average volume. So if you're playing breakout plays, this is very important, right? Because if we get a green bar that breaks above this golden line, that tells me that I have above average buying pressure, which is very important if you're playing to the downside. Just plot that by adding a 50 simple moving average on volume. No, this is actually an indicator. And I'll show you guys after everything's done. I'll show you guys if you want to add some of these indicators on. I'll actually show you guys how to put these on your Thinkorswim. Show us how to set up that study. Yeah, I definitely got you on this study, guys. It's a game changer. Like I'm telling you, like I literally live by this, man. This is bread and butter. Pay my bills off this every single week. I'm gonna show you guys one last one. It's gonna blow your mind. Let's just say, all right. So, like I say, the bigger the time frame, the bigger the move, right? So we got SPY. Me and Kev caught a lot of this too. We got SPY on the weekly charts, right? So what does that mean? That means that a release from a weekly squeeze could mean 8 to 10 weeks, right? So check this out, guys. We got SPY squeezing here. This is back in what, October or so. We got SPY squeezing on the weekly, trading in this build a range. And then we get a break above this range, right? And look what happens. Look what happens, guys. Imagine if you would have bought down here in the 290s, even the 300s. Oh man, crazy. Very, very crazy. So let me just turn back to the syllabus because I have some things I wanted to discuss with you guys. Yeah, so Dr. John Carter was actually the guy who made this indicator, and he has some amazing YouTube videos. Let me just pull this up for you guys. I don't know if you can still see my chart. I don't know if you can still see my screen. So I haven't been able to find the TTM squeeze on TradingView, and I haven't looked for a while now. So you know, it may be on there. Just typing in something in YouTube, and then I'm gonna change my screen over so you guys can actually see what I'm looking at. If you can't view my screen right now. And now they have different indicators, TTM indicators. Now they'll have like a TTM scalper and like all kinds of other stuff. I don't use all of those other indicators. I just use the TTM squeeze. That's it. Just plain and simple. I mean, feel free to explore them though. But I keep it simple. I keep my trading simple. All right. So can you guys see my screen? Can you see the YouTube? I have it on YouTube. Just a chart. Okay. So let me switch this. All right, what about now? Awesome. All right, so you guys want to be here.
If you've been trying to make money online.
Yeah, you guys want to be here on my top 3 favorite option trading strategies. He actually goes in depth and he talks about more than just a TTM squeeze strategy, but he definitely gives you a nice breakdown of how to and then what to expect from this thing, right? So I wanted to talk about making a watch list on stocks using the squeeze. So when I start my day, let's just say I don't see any major news catalysts, right? Because I like to trade based off of I like to follow the money. I want to be where the money's at, right? So I'm checking out news, see what got upgraded, what's new, right? Let's just say it's a dull day. We don't got much going on. This is where you want to come in and you want to scan for squeezes. So here we're gonna go to the scanner. Let me see. Okay, so this one doesn't have my TTM squeeze scanner options on this laptop. It's on my other one next to me. So that's fine. For time's sake, I won't show you the scanner options. I guess Kev will do that on the next class. We'll actually go more in depth. I guess we should probably do that anyway, right? But let's just say for time's sake, right? When I'm making my watch list, I go in and I scan for TTM squeezes. So and it'll pull up all kinds of squeezes. It'll pull up squeezes on the 1 hour charts, the 4 hour charts, the daily charts, the weekly charts, whatever have you. And I'll build watch lists based off of what's squeezing, right? I want to play squeeze breakouts. That's just me in particular. One I'm looking at right now is cost. Let's see. And it looks like it's already released. So yeah, so I didn't even play this Friday, but I was watching cost and I wanted to play its breakout. See, it had been squeezing for a while, and that's what you want to see. You want to see, it doesn't have to be for a very long time, but I like to see some good consolidation, and that's what we got. I mean, it had been rejecting this level for a while, so no surprise that it rejected it again and it just fell through. Like if you would have caught this, and it actually, yeah, if you would have caught this, you would have ate pretty nice on this cost play. Finviz, they're okay. They have some decent scanners. If you want to depending on what you want to look for and how you trade. I mean, they got some pretty up to date news that comes out. I typically, let me just show you guys this too. When I use Finviz, I use it for different reasons. I use Finviz to find the ATR of a stock. Now, what's the ATR? Can anyone tell me what an ATR is? An ATR, yes. ATR is the average true range. The average true range is going to generally tell us how far that stock's going to go. Like, how much on average does that stock move, right? Why is that important? So I pulled up, I think this is shop. I pulled up shop. Why is it important to find out the ATR of a stock? I'll tell you. Let's just say that you wanted to trade shop, right? And it's already made a $50 or a $44 move for the day, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, shop is going up. I want to jump in. I really want to play this break above whatever level, right? Well, if it's already made a $44 move, the ATR is $40. So typically, you know, I'm not saying it can't go beyond that, but you really want to be careful hopping into plays when they're already extended. You know what I mean? You really want to check these ATRs of these tickers before you're just playing them, right? Because you don't want to hop into like Bank of America, whose ATR is probably like 50 cents or so, you know, and it's already made that move. It's $2 now. It's come up drastically from what it used to be when I traded it. But you don't want to hop into a stock that's has already made its move. Like, you know, you definitely want to keep track of that. And yes, you can find the ATR on Thinkorswim. Typically, I use FinViz for that. I just pull it up and I look at the ATRs, and it just sticks with me. Like when you start doing this, you'll kind of like remember how much a stock moves, especially if you trade the similar or the same stocks day through day, day in and day out. It just kind of sticks with you. So this is definitely something that you want to add to your arsenal of trading. Let's see. Yeah, so when you're scanning for these stocks, you want to always have a pen and paper handy, and you guys want to be recording everything that you're seeing.
Literally, Mo told me go back in time. It's the Sand Saga. I go back, then I fight Piccolo, right? I'm a level 103.
Hey, yo, tell all
one card blast, he died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All good. But yeah, so when you guys are building your watch list, right? And let's say you want to build your watch list based off of the TTM squeeze first, you want to get a pen and paper ready because you want to be writing down what you're looking at. You don't want to just say, hey, I see Amazon squeezing, I'm going to trade this today. Like you want to write down what you're seeing. That way, when the trading session's done and over with, you can go back and review your notes. You guys want to keep track of how accurate this is for you, right? Because what works for me may not work for you, you know, and you also want to keep notes because, you know, like for a while, guys, like your notes are going to start building stories. You're going to start taking notes and writing down what you guys are seeing in the markets. You're going to start writing down, like for the 20th, I wrote ZM daily squeeze, looking at long next week. And it also has a gap below it at 126. You guys want to make notes about what these stocks are doing so that you can start putting these puzzles together and forming your own hypothesis of what's going on. Yes. So let's check out best time frames to scalp and day trade using the squeeze. So I would definitely, since you guys are newer traders, I think that it would probably be safer for you guys to kind of like swing these plays. Not taking against scalping or anything, but you really want to know what you're doing as far as scalping before you just hop into these plays, guys, because this market will rip you apart. So I definitely think that identifying patterns that are in squeezes and would be very beneficial to you just moving forward. And that's just my opinion, my honest opinion on the subject. And I think that pretty much sums up what we're going to talk about tonight as far as TTM squeeze. I mean, I can go on and on, but you know, I want to just give you guys a taste of this, and I hope that you take away something from this tonight. But I can show you some of my settings for my indicators, at least get you going, right? So let's just go here. So we're going to go to studies. Go to edit studies. So here I have my TTM squeeze set under volume, and I didn't edit anything. So what you see is what you get. Like, I didn't come in here and edit any of the settings for the TTM. I just left it as is. And I put I know one of you are asking for the volume. You just go in and you'll find, and do it for you. Go in and you'll go to volume down here to the left. Volume average, you'll add that. And, you know, you can put the link to 50, and that'll give you the above average volume for the 50 previous trading sessions. And that's pretty much all the indicators that I need. I mean, you know, I used to use the bands, but, you know, we really don't need them when you're looking at price action, when you guys can start identifying what's taking place between these resistance levels, these support levels, and when you guys start cracking into level 2s. And I'm sure Kev will get to you guys on that if he hasn't already. Kev, you still with me, bro? Okay, we got 57. Okay, well, hey guys, I would definitely appreciate it if you guys go to, I think Kev has a testimony section, and just feel free to leave whatever feedback you feel that you took away from this. If you think that this helped you any tonight, please feel free to give some feedback so that I can like really know, you know, how you guys did tonight, and how I did, you know, as far as explaining this lesson to you. I look forward to actually going further in depth in the TTM squeeze, really giving you guys some real juice and substance on this thing in the classes to come, because like I say, man, this thing has totally revolutionized how I view trading and how I trade. It's amazing. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. Look forward to seeing you guys again. I hope that you all are staying safe in these hard times, and stay blessed. Let me know if you need anything. I'm in the chat. Once again, just look at some of these. Yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy it. I don't trade every day. If I see an opportunity, I'll take it, I'll execute, but there's no need to trade every day. You don't have to trade every day, you know. And if I do trade every day, I typically don't look at, like, I'm not in front of the screen all day, right? I like to trade in increments. Like, if there's nothing going on in the first hour and a half, I'll move from the screen. It's not healthy to sit in front of the screen all day, because you'll end up forcing a trade, and that's not what you want to do. No problem. Yeah. So I'm going to pull up the settings for you one more time. Here you go. So if you want to find the TTM squeeze, come over here. TTM squeeze, you'll add it over. I have it at the top, overlapping the volume. It's at the top. And it's just default. Like, I didn't modify anything. Whatever it was, I left it as is. and you just hit apply and you hit OK, and it should pull it up, something like this for you. No problem, guys. Don't forget to leave a comment if you guys enjoyed tonight, so that Kev will know if you guys want to get more information from me. All right. Have a blessed one, and I look forward to seeing you guys later, man.